Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wednesdays with Win. I am Wynsome Mclean. I am the CEO of Soul Care Institute, LLC, where we provide therapeutic services for individuals, couples, and families. And I am so excited to be back with you with another Wednesdays with Win Mental Health Awareness Month edition. I am so happy to have back with us. And if you saw last time, he's no stranger now. So glad to have Richard Haines back with us. He is a mental health practitioner. He's a mental health advocate, and we're so delighted to have him with us today. He has received his master's degree from Bowie in Maryland, and we're so grateful that he has started his own practice here in West Palm Beach, and we are excited about that. We need more men in this field, so we are so excited to have him as a resource. And just a paragraph or a couple of sentences that he uses to describe himself. He says that I aspire to be the voice of Black males across the world, providing accurate depictions in statistical data, develop and publish accurate mental health approaches and techniques, and most importantly, giving healing and much needed support and resources. And he does this in a practice that is almost 100% male. Almost 100% of his clients are men. And so he is that voice for us today that will really give us a window into the complexity of men and mental health. Richie, thank you so much for agreeing to be back with us. Oh gosh, so glad to have you back. And so anything that I missed out that you want to share with the people?
Well, you covered everything. I do want to add one caveat.
Okay.
I want to say, yes, my practice is almost 100% all males, but what I'm more so ecstatic about is it's all men of color.
Wow, come on,
That's what
come
I'm
on
more
here.
so excited about because that's what I sought out to work with. And I'm getting
Yes.
them, and these are the individuals that I intentionally wanted, not those who could, would go get therapy. I went to the ones who wasn't going to go get therapy, and that's pretty much who make up my practice right now.
Wow, that is amazing. So share with us though, some of the demographic of individuals. I know that you said mostly men of color, which is awesome. But what other characteristics or demographics are you serving currently?
So right now, I'm serving, in my practice, I have ages 15 to about 34. Okay. I have two that are in their mid 40s. Okay. So high school students, I have those who, hold the pulpit in some respects. I have those who are just your everyday working blue collar person. Okay. I have some who are incarcerated, some who, they have other professions. Okay. So got you. Yeah. Wow,
Richie, that runs the gamut. That runs the gamut and everything in between. So that's awesome. Again, I just appreciate that you could be a voice to such a variety of demographic as it relates to our men. And so today we really want to talk about the complexity, right, of men and mental health, and just share with us how complex it is as a clinician who has a practice that works with men. How complex is it working with men and their mental health?
Well, it could be, it is difficult. I feel like it's a little easier for me because I am a man. So I kind of understand things on a different level. But to give you an idea of how complex it is we initially have to have about maybe 3 or 4 sessions or fact finding and gathering information and playing connect the dots to try to identify what is really happening.
Right.
And it takes a while because, as we talked about in part one, cultural toxic cultural norms, a lot of that stuff is suppressed and hidden to where we don't know what those are and we don't know what we're feeling. So we have to, like we said in part one, define and identify what we're looking for and strategies on how to approach it, as far as techniques and approaches when dealing with the individual.
Right. And so that's an encouragement, I think, for any men who might be listening in on this conversation, that it's not going to be this one and done. Let's go to one session and then we're going to figure it out and everything is going to be cool, right? Like it's that we got to dig a little bit to really understand what it is that we're dealing with. And a lot of times, even with women, sometimes people have this misconception of therapy. Either people think that it's just not going to work, or other people think that it's the magic pill, right? So take one dose and then, everything is going to be right with the world and you're going to give me all the help I need and it's just going to happen after one session, right? So it's encouraging to hear you say that you care enough for the men that you serve to really take the time to get to know them, to get to know what they're really dealing with before you just kind of throw strategy and techniques at them. And I hate that. I hate when, I'm just like, you don't even know what the people are dealing with and you're just like giving them a remedy and we don't even understand the severity of what they're going through. So I appreciate and I hope that those that are listening like picks up on that, it's going to take some time, right? To really uncover and unpack all of the complexities of your experiences, right?
Right. It's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot.
Yeah. And again, but for me, it's encouraging because it says that, we don't want to just give you this kind of blanket approach, go, take 10 deep breaths or, go count to 10 or, go for a nature walk, like these things that people just randomly tell you to do and not understand really what you're dealing with. So I appreciate that fact. I do. I do want to also talk about some of the common issues, right? So what are so we realize that it takes a while to kind of get to what a man, and I think also because of just building relationship, right? Because men don't walk into this thing just trusting. Like, you got to make sure that you know what you talk about and you're safe and all of that. I know how guys talk when they come together.
What's up?
Right?
You good? I'm good. That conversation, those one-liners.
Oh gosh. But what are some of the common issues, even within your practice, that you see that a lot of men are dealing with, thinking about COVID and just the uniqueness of this time that we're in? What are you seeing? What's coming into the doors?
Mostly depression and anxiety. I would say anxiety is the number one issue that I see amongst most adult men is anxiety. Depression pops up here or there. PTSD will pop up here or there, but mostly anxiety, and most of the anxieties are created by past trauma experiences.
Wow. Okay. And I was looking at some statistics and some numbers that I came across is that approximately 19.1 million American adults ages 18 to 54 are dealing with some type of anxiety. And out of that, about 3 million men have like panic attacks and agoraphobia and other phobias connected to anxiety. So this is like really a big deal, like as it relates to men. What are you finding are some of the like the undercurrents? Like what are the contributors to the issues or dealing with anxiety?
I would say self-image,
Mm.
self-esteem. I would say toxic cultural norms,
Yes.
family, family expectations, community expectations.
Mm.
Um, yeah, those are the major things that I see is how I view myself. And even though I don't like this, what will my family think of me if I don't do what they think I should be doing?
Wow.
So living up to other people's expectations, but also challenging, that it's not congruent to who you are as a person, or not even trying to be more than what you believe that you can be.
Oh, Richie, wait. Wait a minute. Wait. I don't even know if I was expecting that answer. That is something to really, really think about. You said societal norms or expectations, family expectations, even if they're incongruent with the way in which a man sees himself, there is still that pressure to concede, that pressure to do it, that pressure to be it, even if they're having their own internal struggle with it because everybody expects them to do it.
Yes. Message.
Right. Duly noted, duly noted, duly noted. Wow. Can you talk a little bit more about that, Richie? I just think that is just so profound.
Well, I would say, okay. So with that, I have a client now that I'm seeing. His expectations are he wants to be this professional, he wants to be this person, but it's hard for him to want to leave, to go off to the military, or to leave the area to be the person that he wants to be. And so we talked the other day, and it's like he's having a full meltdown because he can't do something for a good friend of his. And I asked him, well, why is that so important? Your friend understands what you're going through right now financially, just got a house, you're just, getting things in order. They shouldn't really expect this of you. And I asked him, I said, so what's the big deal? Like, why is this creating this? Why did this conflict happen between you two? I said, did she ask you, or did you talk to her about this? No, I didn't. And I'm like, wait, what happened? It's just that she expects this of me. And it's more of an expectation that he's carrying, even though it was never verbalized. It was because it's Mother's Day and this is this. I feel like I have to do it, even though it's going to jeopardize what I have going on. So I have to dig into my savings account to go pop out a gift because it's Mother's Day and I feel the pressure all around me to go buy a physical gift, even though one of my goals is to save this much money. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take away from myself to meet this expectation over here. Right. And I'm constantly having it reinforced through television commercials. When I go into the store, it's Mother's Day. On the radio, it's Mother's Day. And now this person is saying, I'm expecting a good gift from you because it's Mother's Day. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When he already have his own thing that he has planned. Not to say that he's being selfish. Right. It is more so, you can write a card, you can take her for a walk, a picnic, do what's within your range. You don't have to go above and beyond, but he felt the pressure that he needed to go above and beyond, which created a conflict internally with him to where he started to panic, anxiety kicked in, and then it caused a confrontation between him and her. Wow. Because instead of vocalizing that, he felt the panic, the anxiety kicked in, and instead of saying, I can't do it, you always suspecting this stuff of me. Right. Yep. You didn't do anything at that moment. Right. That anxiety kicked into him inside his head, and unable to articulate that to her, which could have been completely avoided.
Richie, you just stage dropping the reality of what this thing is all about. Listen, it but that's such a good segue into support, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we support the men in our lives? Because it's just like that example that you gave from me is so practical, and I can wrap my mind around that because again, sometimes the pressure that men feel is internal and a lot of times it's external, right? So my boy got his girl this and I got, like that external type of pressure to have to do it a certain way, right? To show up a certain way. And so what happens when he has a plan? What happens when there is something that he wants to accomplish and then we throw this external pressure in there, right? And that woman may be not able to understand or won't give herself permission to understand. And then you have other men who are like, man, step up to the plate. This is what men do. This is what you need to do. And so it's like, it's coming from every angle. And I think that
Yes.
that's what makes men and mental health so complex because they're getting it from other men, they're getting it from women, they're getting it from their children, they're getting it from society. It's like everywhere they're inundated with these different messages.
And as you were saying that, in my head, I see this guy just going into a corner and crawling up in a ball because it's so much. It's so much that we have to deal with. But
wow.
Looking at how to support
Yes.
those individuals, I would say one, hear them, listen, listen,
Yeah.
listen.
Richie.
Not only for understanding, but just listen.
You just preached the sermon, okay? Let me just tell you, you just let us say amen. No, but go ahead, keep going.
I would say start out with listening. Two, identify who is most important to them. You might be that person as their girlfriend, their wives, but identify someone within their friend circle who you've seen them have deep conversations with. And whenever you feel like something is wrong with them, not to say that you have to go and tell all their business, just go to that person and say, hey, can you check in on them? Okay. Because you know that they have deep conversations. You know that they may talk about certain things. And so indirectly, you're providing that support and help through somebody that is a confidant. And also, you kind of want to make that divide within your home too, as far as what they may be dealing with. Because you might be indirectly impacted by whatever it is that they're dealing with mentally. So you want to make sure that you do have that outside source that have eyes on the inside to understand what's going on within your relationship dynamics, as far as that person may be dealing with something that could be above your control of helping.
Okay. So understanding when what they need is more than what you can solely provide. Yes. Right. So like, I want to be there for you. I want to support you, but it seems as if this is so big that we might need to call in some reinforcement.
Someone that I know that you are okay with, that I know that you would talk to, your homeboy or your brother, that can pull you out of that headspace. Because it's too often that we see that when depression gets too out of control or anxiety gets too out of control, you have substance abuse, you have domestic violence. Yes. You have a lot of different things that can go on within a home, especially when, everything is within the house. It's easy to hide stuff. But if you have that outside source that is aware of what's happening with this individual, it can remove a lot of that stuff and bring a lot of that stuff to light, so that it's keeping things in control within your household. So that's one thing, just outside source, a good friend, a good confidant. Also, self-care. Like, provide them self-care the best way you know how to, as their partner. Rub their feet or encourage them, hey, let's go for a walk. Encourage them to go to the beach. Encourage them to do things that will allow them to de-stress and be a part of that process with them. Not only is that opening up their doors to be vulnerable with you, you're helping them to de-stress. And you're getting a free self-care component too. You know, so it's a time that you can spend with your partner where you're taking care of yourself as well as you're making sure he's okay.
Wow, these are such good things. And let me just summarize some of the things that you shared as far as just providing support. I think start leading with listening to understand is just key, right? It's key for us to not just hear a person, but to be able to hear them, to hear the heart behind the message, right? Like it's so important. Oftentimes, specifically when I work with couples, I always try to press into what is not being said, right? Even with everything that we say, what is not being said? And that's when you know that you're really listening, right? Because you can pick up on what is not being said. So that's, I think, a beautiful depiction of how to provide support to men and their mental health. But then I attach right underneath the listening, I attach like communication in there, right?
Yes.
Like I think everyone's home is different, and we don't need to model our homes after anyone else. We don't need to model our relationships after anyone else, right? Like, so yeah, old boy down the street bought his girl a Mercedes Benz for Mother's Day, but listen, I could afford a dinner at Chili's. Like that's what's within the realm of what we got going on over here, right? Exactly. And for everybody to be okay with what we got going on over here versus adding stress, placing someone else's abilities to do something into our household, So I think too, that's super, super key. And then you said self-care, which is awesome. Again, you always just slide those ones in that I'm not even expecting, but self-care with a twist, right? Inviting, opening the door to going for a walk, opening the door to going to the beach, to hang out, to rub his feet, to make him a cup of tea, like opening the door for conversation, opening the door to really be able to engage in a non-threatening type of way. And then you said call in reinforcement if you need to, right?
Right.
If you need reinforcement, call in reinforcement, but reinforcement that you know that he trusts, that he wouldn't feel some type of way that you shared, with his friend, check in on him. You know what I mean? Somebody that you know that he is okay with and respects. Because, bruh, you tell the wrong person and then we have a whole nother issue going on.
Right. Why are you telling him all my business, man?
Right, exactly.
And then, lastly, one thing that I personally have done in my life is if you are single, find yourself a mental wellness accountability partner. Just like you have a physical accountability partner, you make sure you get to the gym. Find your mental wellness accountability partner.
That's good.
If we don't hear from each other within 5 days, that warrants a phone call. So, meaning if we're not texting, hey, how you doing? If we haven't heard a text, we're gonna pick up the phone. If by our third call, we then call someone within the family to see if that person okay. And these are things that we have created within our boundaries with each other. Okay. Is that we want to make sure that we're good.
Yeah.
And even in the conversations, hey, are you financially good? Do you need anything? How's your stress levels? Are you working out? Just going down the checklist of things that we've created within this friendship. Yeah. And once it's over, we hang up the phone and that's it. But there are steps that, how to escalate. Like, don't pick up at this time, call this person. Here's my address. Here's where I work at, to make sure that at all times that we are okay, that we're going to be okay, and that our friends are going to be okay.
Wow. Listen, I think you should package that somehow. I think that needs to be packaged because I think that is absolutely amazing. I always tell my clients that if you want support, you have to train people on how to support you, right? And so sometimes that means creating that list of questions that you want them to ask you on a weekly basis to make sure that you're checking in adequately. And you just beautifully put it within the framework of what men are doing for men, what brothers are doing for brothers, making sure that they're good financially, checking their stress level. Are you working out? Are you eating good? Like all of those things contribute to our wellness, right?
Yes.
And so to be intentional around that is so, so important. Richie, you have blessed our lives on today. Can I tell you? Can I tell you that you have blessed our lives on today? And I want you to share with the people how they can connect with you. I mean, I know that there are some moms on here that need their sons to reach out to you. There are some wives that need their husband to reach out to you. So how can the people get in touch with you?
All right, so they can first email me at richiebhaines@outlook.com. You can find me at Richie B. Haines on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter.
Okay, all right.
Oh, and Psychology Today. I forgot about it.
Psychology Today. Awesome, awesome. And when they go to Psychology Today, all of your information will also be there. So they just click, click, and they can get in touch with you. Awesome. Richie, again, Soul Care Institute, Wynsome Mclean, just want to say thank you so much for spending this time with us and just blessing us with this wealth of knowledge. For Mental Health Awareness Month, we thank you because we don't want to continue to overlook our men and their mental health because their mental health is super, super important. So thank you again for stopping in and chatting with us. I'm thinking that we're probably going to do this again. So just listen out because I'm sure we need to have more conversations like this. So again, I appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely.